Hi, it's Tom from Digital Foundry.
And it's Richard here.
So today we can complete the pairing and pit PS4 versus Xbox One in Dark Souls 3. So right off the bat we've got a rare example of a cutscene which gives us light for light in-engine action, and it proves the point that we have a differential in performance between the two consoles, with PS4 pretty much holding out at 30 FPS and Xbox One running at 25.
So what we're looking at here is 1080p on PS4, 900p on Xbox One, and the reason why developers change the resolution like that is basically to address the fact that the Xbox One GPU is smaller and slightly less capable than the PS4. So what we see here is kind of like a linear scaling of the GPU's capabilities. What's interesting here is that while for the most part both titles do run at 30 FPS, Xbox One version does drop below, and it kind of highlights that there are two issues with the Microsoft architecture. Obviously the GPU is smaller, but also memory bandwidth is more constrained owing to the fact that the main system RAM is DDR3. PlayStation 4, GDDR5, much more bandwidth. So Microsoft kind of attempt to mitigate that with 32 megs of onboard ESRAM on the APU, and it does the job in many cases, but if the ESRAM isn't fully utilized you can see differentials exactly like this.
And another point worth picking up on is, of course, that dreaded frame pacing issue is back, and we're seeing fluctuations to 16 milliseconds, which has been a hallmark of the Bloodborne engine as well as Dark Souls 3 on PS4 when we saw it in its beta, and there's no change here. This is the final release and we're getting perceptible stutters as a result of the issue here.
And just to illustrate what frame pacing is, if you've not heard us explain the issue before, essentially 30 FPS, you want 30 clean frames per second updating at regular intervals, so that would be 33 milliseconds. Now some titles do run at 30 FPS, but frames are delivered in an uneven manner. To the human eye, well, the human eye kind of wants consistency, and when it doesn't get it, it kind of looks stuttery. It actually looks like the frame rate is worse than it actually is.
And it's surprising it hasn't been fixed to this point. I think we've given up hope to an extent that it will be, having seen it in games harking back to even the first Dark Souls where it was present to a very minimal degree. It seems like we're not really going to get the update to rectify the issue, and that's a bit of a shame.
What we really want to see is that consistency married up with that kind of level frame rate.
Of course, we're only looking at the very early stages of Dark Souls 3, and there's no telling if there's going to be a Blight Town-like situation as we saw on the original Dark Souls, where we could get like 10 frames per second. So we'll have to keep an eye out for situations like that as we go, and we'll keep you updated if we do.
Yeah, I think the thing to bear in mind is that we've got Japanese copies of the game, and the title isn't out for a couple of weeks yet, so we don't really want to spoil the game for anyone, but at the same time, looking at these early sections of the game, you do see the key points of differentiation between the two platforms.
Right, well I think that about covers it. Thanks for your time, Rich. If you like this video, please like and subscribe below, and until next time, thanks for watching.